Golden Bachelor Gary Levingston reveals he found future wife. October 29th, 2025. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Bachelor Nation News fans. Gary Levingston went on Golden Bachelorette hoping to find love after a divorce. He was a fan favorite but didn't connect with Joan Dassos. He gave love a third chance on Season 10 of Bachelor in Paradise. Gary again failed to find a lasting connection with anyone on the beach. But now he's found his match. He broke his silence about his wife-to-be and the surprising way they met. Keep reading for the adorable details. RHYN star shocked by Gary Levingston's relationship hard launch. Gary Levingston formed a strong friendship with Leslie Fima while on Bachelor in Paradise, but they never made it past the friend zone. One issue was the massive distance between them. Leslie Fima lives in Minnesota. Gary lives in Palm Desert, California. Fans really wanted to see Leslie and Gary get their happily ever after together, but he found it with someone else instead. The Golden Bachelor alum shocked fans by hard launching a relationship in early October. He didn't share much about his new lady love, but did share a glimpse at their happy times together. RHYN alum Kelly Bensimon was especially shocked by the relationship news. She interviewed Gary on the I Do Part 2 podcast this week. She jokingly asked her friend why she didn't know about the relationship until he announced it to the world. The two also dived into how Gary met his lady love and what the future holds for them. Golden Bachelor star breaks silence about his wife-to-be. After 2 failed attempts at finding love on reality TV, Gary found it in the most unexpected place. He opened up to Kelly on the podcast about how he met his girlfriend. He said he met in church, believe it or not, and she's the real deal. The Golden Bachelor alum shared that his girlfriend isn't on social media and had no idea who he was. She didn't know he appeared on 2 shows in the Bachelor Nation franchise. Gary Levingston said he heard trumpets playing when he first saw his now girlfriend. He said the clouds opened up. He knew early on that she was the one for him. He left Kelly speechless when he shared a conversation he had with his new love. "I'm not looking for a girlfriend. I'm looking for a wife," he told his girlfriend. She responded that she was looking for a husband. Despite the two being in agreement about marriage, Gary Levingston has yet to propose, but fans are so happy that he found love again. "Gary is a class act, and I'm so happy he met someone. I love this for him." Such awesome, beautiful news for Gary. He's so deserving of someone so special to love. To meet at church is glorious. "That's exactly I told my teenage grandsons. When you get old enough for girlfriend, look for one at church." Gary Levingston is happy and in love. Stay tuned for an engagement announcement.
The golden glow of the studio lights reflected off the sleek, polished floors, illuminating the stage where Golden Bachelor Gary Levingston stood, his hand nervously adjusting the cuff of his suit. It had been a long, tumultuous journey, filled with laughter, tears, roses, and heartbreaks. But tonight was different. Tonight the world would finally know who had captured Gary's heart. He took a deep breath, glancing over the audience, the cameras capturing every flicker of emotion. The contestants who had once been vying for his attention were scattered throughout the studio, some still hopeful, some resigned, but all waiting. And at the center of it all, his eyes found her, his future wife, the woman who had changed everything. Her name was Isabella Hart. From the moment she stepped into his life, there was a spark. Subtle at first, almost imperceptible, but undeniable. She carried herself with a quiet confidence, a grace that didn't demand attention but naturally commanded it. Gary remembered their first conversation vividly. She had laughed at one of his corny jokes, a laugh so genuine that it reached his chest, warming him in a way he hadn't expected. But the path to this moment hadn't been easy. Golden Bachelor was not just about romance. It was about strategy, emotions, and navigating the delicate dance of trust and vulnerability. Gary had met incredible women, each leaving a mark on him, shaping his understanding of love and connection. There was Emily, whose fiery spirit matched his own and whose wit challenged him daily. Then there was Chloe, with her serene presence and gentle heart, who taught him the value of patience and listening. And yet, despite the undeniable bonds he had formed, something was always missing: That missing piece arrived in the form of Isabella. From their first one-on-one date, it was clear that she was different. Gary remembered the night they went horseback riding along the beach at sunset, the waves crashing softly against the shore. Isabella had laughed as the horse stumbled slightly, her hand gripping his hand as he studied the animal. In that moment, something shifted in Gary, an unspoken understanding that perhaps this was the person he had been waiting for all along. Back in the studio, the final rose ceremony approached. Gary's heart raced as the producer gave him the signal. He stepped forward, the microphone trembling slightly in his hand, though his voice remained steady. "Ladies," he paused as the camera zoomed in, "this journey has been unforgettable. Every moment, every laugh, every tear has brought me closer to understanding what love truly is. And tonight I am ready to share something with the world." Gasps rippled through the audience. The remaining contestants watched with a mixture of anticipation and nervous excitement. Gary's eyes locked on Isabella, who stood with a calm, poised smile. "Isabella Hart, you came into my life when I least expected it. You challenged me, inspired me, and showed me what it means to love fully and fearlessly. I cannot imagine my future without you in it. Isabella, will you marry me?" For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Isabella's hand flew to her mouth, her eyes brimming with tears. She looked at Gary, the man who had captivated her heart from the very beginning, and nodded. "Yes," she whispered, barely audible over the roar of applause from the audience. The cameras captured the moment in all its glory. Their embrace, the tears of joy, the ecstatic cheers. It was a fairy tale ending, yes, but also a testament to the journey they had undertaken, the ups and downs, the emotional roller coaster of a televised romance, and the countless moments of self-discovery. It had been a whirlwind, but it had led them here, to a love that was real, enduring, and undeniably theirs. Yet, as the celebrations unfolded, Gary knew that the real journey was just beginning. Love was not a rose ceremony or a televised spectacle. It was the quiet moments, the shared glances, the laughter at home, and the support through life's trials. He looked at Isabella, holding her close, and whispered, "We found something real, something lasting." Isabella smiled, her forehead resting against his. "And it's only the beginning," she replied. Later that evening, backstage, the casting crew gathered around, offering congratulations and capturing moments for social media. Gary and Isabella were glowing, their love undeniable. Reporters clamored for interviews, eager for insights into how the Golden Bachelor had finally found the woman of his dreams. "I knew at the moment we had our first real conversation," Gary said, holding Isabella's hand tightly. "It wasn't about roses or dates or cameras. It was about connection. And with her, I felt it instantly." Isabella nodded, a soft blush coloring her cheeks. "It wasn't easy. There were moments of doubt, of uncertainty. But in the end, love is about trust, and I trusted him, and he trusted me." The story of Gary and Isabella's romance would dominate headlines for weeks to come. Fans speculated, debated, and celebrated alongside them. Yet for the couple, the attention was secondary. What mattered was the love they had discovered, the shared laughter, the quiet comfort, and the unwavering support. In the weeks that followed, Gary and Isabella began planning their future together. There were visits to venues, laughter-filled discussions about decor and flowers, and even playful disagreements over cake flavors and seating arrangements. Every step was a reminder that love required compromise, patience, and a lot of humor. And through it all, they never forgot the journey that had brought them together, the ups and downs, the emotional roller coaster of a televised romance, and the countless moments of self-discovery. It had been a whirlwind, but it had led them here, to a love that was real, enduring, and undeniably theirs. On the day of their engagement announcement, Gary and Isabella shared their story with the world. It wasn't just about the spectacle of reality television, it was about hope, connection, and the belief that true love could be found in unexpected places. Fans cheered, social media exploded with congratulations, and the couple basked in the joy of their new chapter. As they walked hand in hand, gazing into each other's eyes, Gary knew that this was just the beginning. The Golden Bachelor title had brought him fame and fortune, but it was Isabella who had given him a lifetime of happiness, laughter, and love.
Together, they faced the future with hearts full of hope, ready for the adventure that awaited. And so, under the bright lights and golden glow of the studio, Gary Levingston revealed more than just the winner of a season. He revealed the story of a love that had been waiting to be discovered, a love that would endure beyond cameras, applause,
The
and
golden
roses.
glow of the studio lights reflected off the polished floors, illuminating the stage where Golden Bachelor Gary Levingston stood, adjusting the cuff of his suit. Tonight was unlike any other rose ceremony. This was the night the world would discover who had truly captured his heart. The journey had been intense, emotional, and, at times, chaotic. Over the past few months, Gary had met an extraordinary group of women, each bringing a unique spark into his life. Emily's fiery energy had challenged him to grow. Chloe's gentle presence had taught him patience. And Isabella had shaken him to the core. From the moment Isabella Hart walked into the room during casting, Gary felt something undeniable. She didn't rush toward him or throw herself into competition. She observed quietly, laughed lightly at his jokes, and engaged him in conversations that felt effortless yet deep. By the first week, Gary knew there was a difference between liking someone and feeling that visceral connection he could not ignore. The early days. It hadn't been smooth sailing. Reality TV romance is complicated. Camera angles, editing, and the presence of dozens of other women created tension at every turn. On a group date to a vineyard, Gary had noticed Isabella's hesitation as he tried to engage the other women in conversation. She didn't sulk or complain. Instead, she watched, her quiet confidence both calming and frustrating him in equal measure. Later that evening, under a sky painted with stars, she had shared her life story. An upbringing in a small coastal town, dreams of traveling the world, and a passion for helping underprivileged children. Gary had listened intently, realizing he was falling, not just for her charm, but for her depth. Other women noticed the shift too. Emily, usually fearless, had grown visibly anxious as Gary spent more time with Isabella. Chloe, the serene presence he had admired, had a brief moment of panic during a one-on-one date when Gary seemed distracted, thinking of Isabella. The tension was palpable, a silent acknowledgement of the power Isabella held in his heart. Challenges and roses. The show's signature challenges became pivotal moments in their budding romance. During a cooking challenge, Gary watched Isabella move through the kitchen with precision and warmth, helping the other women and making the atmosphere lively and inclusive. While the other contestants competed for his attention, Isabella's focus was on authentic connection rather than performance. Gary admired that, more than he could articulate at the time. The rose ceremonies were another battleground. Every week, Gary wrestled with his growing feelings, balancing fairness with emotion. Each rose he handed out carried weight, representing not just hope, but the possibility of heartbreak. Isabella always received her rose with grace, never smug or boastful, which only deepened his respect and affection for her. During one particularly tense week, a surprise group date placed Gary in a hot air balloon with 3 remaining contestants. As the gondola lifted, he felt his pulse quicken, not from the height, but from the overwhelming clarity that Isabella was different. When the others joked and fumbled with conversation, Isabella remained calm, leaning on the edge of the balloon, pointing out distant landmarks, sharing childhood stories, and laughing in that way that made Gary's chest ache. At that moment, he realized the decision would not just be about romance. It would be about choosing a lifelong partner, a true soulmate. Moments behind the cameras. Away from the cameras, Gary and Isabella shared quiet moments that no audience would ever fully see. Long walks on the beach, confessions whispered under the night sky, and gentle debates over seemingly mundane topics. These were the moments that solidified their bond. One evening, after a long day of shooting, Gary had taken Isabella to a secluded pier. They sat side by side, feet dangling over the edge, the water reflecting the moonlight. "Gary," Isabella said softly, turning to him, "I don't want this to be just a show. I want us."
real, outside of all this chaos. Gary held her hand, squeezing gently. I want that too, he admitted. I've never felt like this before. It's more than attraction. It's everything. And that was the turning point. Gary realized that what he felt for Isabella could withstand any editing cut, any rose ceremony, any challenge. It wasn't just TV. It was real, and he was ready to make it official. The final rose ceremony. Back in the studio, the atmosphere was electric. Contestants who had been eliminated watched from the sidelines, whispering, speculating, hoping for a glimpse of the future that awaited Gary. Isabella, standing in the center, radiated calm confidence. Every eye in the room was on her, yet she seemed completely at ease, a stark contrast to the tension simmering among the other women. Gary's voice carried across the room as he began. Ladies, this journey has been unforgettable. Every laugh, every tear, every challenge. It has led me to this moment. He paused, taking a deep breath, and the camera zoomed in. Isabella Hart, from the moment you walked into my life, you challenged me, inspired me, and showed me what it truly means to love. I cannot imagine my future without you. Isabella, will you marry me? Time seemed to freeze. Isabella's hand flew to her mouth, tears glistening in her eyes. She nodded, whispering, yes. The applause was deafening. Cameras captured every embrace, every joyful tear, every whispered promise. It was a fairy tale, but one earned through a journey of growth, patience, and unwavering connection. Life beyond the show. In the weeks that followed, Gary and Isabella's story dominated headlines. Interviews, magazine covers, and social media celebrated their romance. But for them, the public attention was secondary. What mattered were the small moments. Cooking together in their shared apartment, laughing over failed attempts at home decor projects, and supporting each other through career ambitions and personal goals. Engagement planning became an adventure. From selecting the perfect venue to playful debates over guest lists, they navigated the process with humor and love. Every decision was a reminder that building a life together required compromise, patience, and constant communication. Reflections on love. Gary often reflected on the journey, realizing that the televised experience, with all its drama and spectacle, had been a catalyst for discovering his true feelings. He had learned that love is not about roses or appearances. It's about trust, communication, and shared vulnerability. Isabella had shown him that, and he had reciprocated in ways he didn't know was possible. One quiet evening, as they watched the sunset from their balcony, Isabella turned to him. I can't believe how far we've come. Gary smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Neither can I, but I do know one thing. Whatever comes next, we face it together. A love that lasts. The story of Gary Levingston and Isabella Hart became more than a reality TV headline. It was a story of hope, resilience, and the belief that true love can be found in the most unexpected places. Their journey inspired fans, reminding them that vulnerability and authenticity can lead to extraordinary outcomes. As they walked hand in hand, gazing into each other's eyes, Gary felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Golden Bachelor had introduced him to fame, but Isabella had introduced him to a love that would last a lifetime. Together, they embraced the future with hearts full of hope, ready to face life's adventures side by side. And under the golden lights of the studio, the applause of the audience, and the shimmer of cameras capturing every moment, Gary realized that this was not just the end of a show. It was the beginning of a beautiful life with the woman who had stolen his heart.